Whether you drive a car,
need a car,
or just occasionally bum a ride with friends,
you've come to the right place.
Join Jill and Tom as they break down everything that's going on in the auto world.
New car reviews,
Shopping tips,
driving green,
electric cars,
classic cars,
and plenty of great guests.
This is the Consumer Guide Car Stuff Podcast.
All right, this is the Consumer Guide Car Stuff Podcast. I am Tom Appel. She's Jill Simonello. We'll get back to her in a moment. When you get a chance, check us out at consumerguide.com. While you're there, check out our all-new, freshly minted 2024 Best Buy Picks. This list is a handy place if you were looking for a new car or truck. And you can listen to back episodes of the podcast right there on our homepage. And I never mentioned this, Jill. My reviews live there.
Okay.
All my reviews. I drive lots of cars a year, 60 cars a year that I drive.
You drive. We drive.
Yeah.
Some of my reviews appear there as well.
Yeah, so people should check that out. That voice is Jill Simonello. She is the managing editor of Pickup Truck Plus SUV Talk. She is a North American Car of the Year juror. And if anyone asks, Jill and I have both been in the studio for like half an hour.
Actually, I was totally sitting in the parking lot waiting until like 2:59.
Is that what it was?
To make you sweat.
Yeah.
And I literally came in like 30 seconds before the show started.
I don't know why. I could just pretend you're there and do this thing where I'm pointing to you right now.
You could.
And there could be an empty chair there. And I could do this just fine, but I don't want to fly solo.
I know. And
freaking me out.
I figured like you could probably carry the first 5 minutes by yourself if necessary. But no, I left 5 minutes later than I normally do, and it took me 15 minutes longer to get here. And it's a holiday. I just figured that because it was a holiday, there would be less traffic. But alas, that was not correct.
I used to listen to a terrible, terrible podcast political radio show that was on every day. It was a 3-hour show, and it was a total dump trade back. It was terrible.
Okay.
But the host of the show would always open with 20 minutes of him monologuing.
Okay.
A thing he should not have done.
Got it.
His conclusion every time for his unprepared monologue was, and that's why young people should get involved. Okay, great. I'll write that down.
So that should be the sign-off for this show, and that's why young people should get involved.
I'm in my mid-50s. I don't care about the young people.
Got it.
I need to say thank you to people.
Yes, you do.
But I got down to the Chicago Auto Show.
Yay!
And I got down Sunday, and as I mentioned to you, it took me like 38 minutes to drive there.
Yeah.
When we need to get down there for the Chicago Auto Show during the week, I don't know, 7 hours. I don't know, from Palatine.
I know. It took me 55 minutes today, so.
From your house on the north side.
Which is on the north side.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Out to northern suburbs.
Yeah.
But anyway, big thanks to Dave Sloan and the folks at the Chicago Auto Show. I got there. I had to walk about. My knee is bad. That's the whole problem. I need to have surgery. I don't like to whine about it, but it's a thing I need to do. And I'm arguing with my doctor about how much weight I need to lose before it happens. And it's like, fix it now.
Yeah, fix it now.
But they're not fixing it yet. But anyway, Dave Sloan met me with an electric cart before the auto show happened, toured me around the show for like an hour.
Oh, that's so awesome.
It was so awesome. And then my streak, I've been to every auto show since 77 when I locked those poor people in a Plymouth Fire Arrow.
Yeah.
Which I don't regret in any way because I look back and more funny than regret.
Well, that's good. I mean, how locked in the car could they actually be?
Right. Someone's going to come along.
Someone say eventually.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's not they're going to starve.
No.
They might get really thirsty.
Yeah. Maybe they took water in with them. I don't know.
So Chicago Auto Show.
Yes.
Full tour. I had never seen the new Hummer before.
Really?
Yeah. And what's funny is yesterday I saw one on the road. So after I finally saw one, but it's kind of a good-looking truck. You know, it's a monster.
It is a monster. And I will say, like, some vehicles look a lot smaller when you see them in person.
Yeah.
That one does not. It actually looks twice the size of what you think it is in pictures.
When I followed it, I couldn't figure out what it was.
Oh?
I was actually driving home from the auto show coincidentally. Mm-hmm. And I couldn't figure out what it was till I got very close. So I saw that. That was cool. And there's a camper version there.
Okay, yep.
It's really late for people to go there now. But if you're in the area and thinking about it.
Today's the last day.
Go now.
Yeah, go. Like, don't turn off the radio, but go now.
Go now. Just because I never saw one before. Mm-hmm. On the floor from the, what's it called? The Claremont collection. Mm-hmm. A Tucker.
Oh, yeah.
I've never seen a Tucker before.
Okay.
There's like 50 of them were built, 48 of them, 46 of them exist.
Okay.
Beautiful car. Over the top.
Yeah.
Cyclops center headlight. You got the vents in the back because it's rear engine. It's a crazy looking car.
Yeah.
Very rare, very valuable.
I feel like I used to go to the Lakeland Classic Car Show. It's like the Lake Mirror Classic with my dad every year. And I feel like they used to have them there.
Yeah?
Yeah. Because the center Cyclops
For the movie Tucker, I believe they got almost all of them in the movie.
Yeah.
Which is crazy.
Yeah.
You wouldn't want to lose those. I saw the Escalade IQ.
Okay, yeah.
It both looks big and tidy. It's a nice design.
Yeah, I actually managed to get to walk around the vehicle. They wouldn't let me sit in it. They wouldn't let me touch anything in it, but they opened the doors for me. Which was after all of the other media had sat in it and touched everything. But I did post to my YouTube channel today. I did post a walk around of the IQ. It's big and lots of screens.
Very attractive.
Very attractive.
I did not look inside it. I saw the new Santa Fe.
Okay.
Which has that Land Rover-y blocky thing.
Yeah.
Very attractive. Question asked of me at the auto show: do I think it will age well? I don't know.
I think it'll age well.
You think so?
Yeah.
Speaking of things that may not age well, I spent a lot of time looking at the Cybertruck.
Oh, man. Yeah, that was on the floor, too.
First impression of the Cybertruck, and this is not an insult. This is not a ding.
Okay.
It has a very specific smell, the interior. And you know how when you get into a BMW or especially a Mercedes, you know that you're in one because they smell that way? Uh-huh. And some of that smell is programmed, and some of it's just the smell of the materials. But BMW smell like BMWs. Mercedes smell like BMWs. And it used to be General Motors leather had a particularly, actually unpleasant smell.
Pungent?
Yeah, they got past that.
Okay, good.
But like 10 years ago, 15 years ago, General Motors leather had a weird smell. But the Cybertruck has sort of an airport smell to it.
I was going to say it smells like sweaty masses.
No.
Because sweaty masses have been in and out of that truck for a week now.
I don't know if that was it. It didn't smell bad. It just smelled specific.
Okay.
Like if I got into another Cybertruck with my eyes closed, I'd be like, oh, I'm in a Cybertruck. So crazy things about that truck. Way more rear seat space than I thought.
Yeah.
But not more leg space in back.
Okay.
Me sitting behind me, not that great a deal. Like,
okay, and you're 6'1". 6'1". Okay.
I say I'm 6'1". I'm sure I've shrunk. But
go with 6'1".
I'm going
Always
with 6'1".
round up. Round up.
It's possible I'm closer to 6 now.
Okay.
But just the same, I can't sit behind me easily.
Okay.
So you got the headroom, but you don't have... Sorry, I'm moving my phone, which is ringing.
Somebody's calling you. Have you already made a mistake and that's like Sam Fiorani calling?
Oh, I don't know. For him to call, it would have to have been a huge mistake.
Right.
Oh, I wasn't in the Cybertruck. Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
So what a weird vehicle. And there are no controls at all. Everything's on the touch screen.
Everything's on the screen.
There's no stalks.
Nope.
Turn signal stalk has been moved to the steering wheel.
Yeah.
I did learn that it takes 3 presses of the screen to unlock the charge port door. I learned this because someone there wanted to charge the vehicle.
Okay.
So, but anyway, it's impressive. It's interesting, and any concerns people have about the quality control might be justified.
Oh, 100% justified.
The seams of the metal panels, the stainless steel panels, are not pretty.
No.
The actual joints.
Yeah.
Because there are like a lot of 90-degree joints where
Yeah.
steel meets steel. You can't make that look good, and they didn't.
No. And like when you open the door, I don't know if you put your hand around the edges of the door jamb at all, but like that is sharp stuff. And I mean, like I'm the kind of person that I would just like walk next to it and cut my arm open. It was really sharp.
Yeah, I didn't see any massive flaws, just a lot of little flaws. It's totally unacceptable at that price.
Yeah.
And the vehicle that was there was the Foundation, which is that weird thing that they didn't talk about, but it's even more expensive.
Right.
Anyway, interesting car. I think a lot of people will buy it, and I think a lot of people will look at it and never buy it.
And I think a lot of people who buy it are going to be very unhappy.
Maybe.
But I think that the diehard Teslarati, when they buy it, like they're going to love it. They're going to geek out of it. It's very different. And
they're going to say they love it.
And that's true. They may not love it, but they're going to say they love it. We were talking about the Hummer and how I think that looks bigger than it does in photos. I think the Cybertruck looks smaller.
Do you think so?
I do.
Yeah, the thing about it, I was just, from the outside, it looked like there was no rear seat headroom. There's plenty of rear seat headroom.
That's good.
So there you have it. Chicago Auto Show, another good year.
Awesome.
Looking forward to next year and walking around it next year.
Yes, fingers crossed, right?
Right. 2 EV price announcements this past week.
Yes.
Interesting prices, the Chevy Equinox EV and the Fiat 500 EV. 500e.
500e.
EV.
Yes.
Both new.
Yes.
Both, I think they're being called 2024 models. I kept checking. It looks like they're 2024. Anyway, the Equinox EV was going to come in at $29,995.
I'm going to guess they didn't hit that.
They didn't hit that, no. and there was a lot of COVID-related inflation since then, but they're coming in at $34,995.
That is significantly more expensive.
It's more expensive, but it will qualify for the tax credit. So you're at
Yeah, that's a
27.
cop-out.
You're at 27.5. That's a good price though. 27.5. That's the starting price.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm not clear. They're throwing a lot of numbers out there, and I'm not clear what applies to what. But that looks like a front drive 210 horsepower model with 319 miles of range, which is pretty great.
Yeah, no, 319 miles in today's day and age is good. That's solid.
So Equinox, this would be their compact, really.
Yeah,
So
base, because it falls below Blazer, right?
Yeah, that's a good price, it seems, for a vehicle that size. And it makes me wonder about the price of the next vehicle. The 2024 Fiat 500e came in at $32,500.
Okay.
Will not qualify for the tax credit.
Right.
And it looks like you add $1,595 destination to that.
Okay.
The press release, messy. But that's a 42 kilowatt hour battery and 149 miles of range.
Ooh, that is totally a California commuter car.
It is. And I'm wondering where the range level is for these cars. And I don't know how well Mini's EV is selling, but that's about 130 miles of range.
Ugh.
But we know that no one wanted the Mazda with 100 miles of range.
No.
So, and early versions of the Leaf with low range didn't sell that well. So we'll see where that goes. But I think that price can't be that price. They might list it for that price, but they're probably going to have to apply their own incentive to it.
Yeah. There's no way they're going to sell it for that when there are other things on the market for the same price that are significantly better.
A lot of makers are applying their own $7,500 rebate to these prices.
Right.
Hoping that at some point they will qualify for the tax credit and just eating that money up front. And speaking of eating money and tax credits, I just got out of the extremely likable Consumer Guide Best Buy. Drove another one. The Hyundai Ioniq 5. What a nice car.
Yeah, I haven't driven that since the launch when they initially revealed it. Was that 2020? So it's been a couple years.
Yeah. Was it 2020? Was it that far ago?
Maybe maybe 2021, but it's been a while.
It's always hard to know because the calendar year and the model year don't play,
always different.
Aren't good
And
friends.
the last 3 years have essentially been 1 year in my brain. So
well, the vehicle hasn't changed at all.
No. But I mean, I really liked it. I walked away from that thinking it was clever and well done. Decent amount of range with one of the things that I really liked about it is the center console that moves back and forth. So, for somebody short, you move your seat in the far forward position, being able to move that forward so you can actually put your elbow on the armrest. Really like that. But you're right. It's incredibly likable. So what was your favorite thing about it?
Funny you use the word clever, and I'll answer your question in a second. Because clever is a really good word for that design because there's a lot of forward-thinking stuff there, none of which is an affront, right? You get into the vehicle and you're like, oh, I like this. It's just generally appealing.
Right.
And there's nothing about it that's super modern or freaky or over the top or makes you think.
The design is a little super modern.
It is, but I don't know that it's challenging.
Okay.
But I think my favorite thing is the fact that it is so normal. That the drive experience is, apart from the fact that it's better because EV drivetrains are so much better than gasoline drivetrains,
Right.
It's just a really conventional experience that happens to be really good because it's super roomy. I'm a big guy. I get into this car. There's plenty of room, lots of glass, lots of roomy glass greenhouse. All of Hyundai's instrument panel touchscreen systems right now are good.
Yeah.
And this one is good. Everything's very flat and clean. It's simple, and I like it, and it works well. The connectivity is good. I'm so sick of punching into Bluetooth, and then next time I start the car, I have to reconnect. I had none of those problems with this car.
That's good.
It's also super quick. It's great on the highway. 4 of me fit in it just fine. The 4-tom test, as we used to call it.
The 4-tom test.
But the flat floor is great, and that's just a function of EV, right? There's no exhaust pipe. There's no all-wheel drive drive shaft, none of that, so that's nice. My favorite thing, I don't know, just the clean, airy interior design, I guess. But it rides well, it handles well. I look back on my notes, and in an earlier review of this vehicle, I didn't like the steering. But I don't find that an issue now, so I don't know if that was something that had changed. But I had found it light and overboosted before, and that isn't the case now.
Okay.
If I didn't like something, is it gets pricey in a hurry.
Yeah.
The vehicle I drove was about $58,000. They start in the low 40s, but the price goes up there in a hurry.
Right.
So 266 miles of range for the dual motor version I drove. Very quick, 320 horsepower. That range seems, right now we're experiencing relatively mild Chicago winter weather.
Yeah, it's a balmy 46 today.
Yeah, but
balmy.
But that doesn't seem to mess with a lot of batteries. It depends on the battery, depends on the manufacturer, but everything seems fine there. So Heck of a nice car. But 58K, you want to go, I think, with a lighter trim level.
Okay.
Because at 58K, you were only $10,000 shy, just 10 grand shy of that Cadillac Lyriq we drove.
Yeah.
That was 68K.
Yeah.
And is bigger and faster and more luxurious. That's another ding on the Ioniq a little bit. The interior is very nice.
Right.
Not that nicely finished.
How do you mean that?
Materials.
Okay.
They're a hard surface. They look good. It's a nice design. It's a clever design.
Yeah.
But I don't know that it's especially luxurious.
Okay.
But that said, sometimes when you're dealing with a cheap interior, cheap's the wrong word.
Less expensive?
Less expensive, more moderate. Yes, a moderated interior.
Okay.
Help me here. I have to back out of this. It's not a cheap interior. But sometimes noise is an issue, too, if you have hard surfaces.
Right.
And that was not the case here.
No, I remember the Ioniq being super quiet and really comfortable. And for somebody who's a petite stature like I am, I'm 5 feet tall, I had really good visibility out of all the windows. And, I liked things like the ambient lighting, the customizable ambient lighting that you could change. I like the pixels that are
I
everywhere.
find the ambient lighting the silliest damn thing in the world.
I think it's silly, but I love it.
I want it to be something that just happens that I don't have to think about. But if I have to program ambient lighting, it's never going to happen.
You don't have to program it. You can leave it on, the factory default or let your daughter deal with it.
I don't know if she'd care. She might.
She might. She changes her hair color like on a weekly basis. I think she might want to
That's
change
true.
the interior
That's
to match
true.
her hair.
Yeah.
I'm just going to put that out there.
Yeah, I haven't changed anything about my hair. And
Well, it's changed itself over the years. Used to be black when I met you.
ouch, yeah. Yeah. I think I mentioned that. I got a new driver's license, and I didn't have to do anything. They just mailed me one. Like, I kind of got to change the hair color.
Yeah.
That black thing's not really...
It used to be black.
Yeah.
Is that a color used to be?
Yeah, it used to be. The Ioniq 5, we should mention, very similar to the Kia EV6. Mechanically, there are differences in trim level and interior materials, and also there is a very fast version of the Kia, which is the GT, which is silly fast.
Yeah. Well, interior controls will be a little bit different. Kia started doing one of those interesting things where you have essentially a button that you would push so that you'll get your HVAC controls, and then you push a button and then you get your audio controls, because they're trying to keep the buttons and dials, which thank you very much for that, but they're trying to minimize the amount of buttons and dials that you have.
There was, I don't know if you remember this about the Nissan Juke, but my daughter owns a Nissan Juke. The HVAC controls, which are mechanical, they're buttons below the tiny, tiny touchscreen, because this is a 2014. If you press the right button, they become weird performance controls. And then you can get weird things like a G meter up on the screen. Not a darn thing that helps with anything, actually, but it's weird that there's this secondary mode of controls hidden below the temperature control.
Well, G meter.
The other thing about the Ioniq 5 right now, and we just talked about this, they are throwing a $7,500 rebate out there now.
Okay, because they do not qualify for the tax
credit. They do not
credit.
qualify for the tax credit, and they're not going to do that until they start sourcing their batteries in the U.S. Well, they have to build the car here.
Right.
Right now, they're importing them from Korea. So that's the stuff.
That is the stuff.
Did we miss anything?
Whenever I talk about Hyundai and their electric vehicles, there's one thing that I always like to mention that's kind of a little bit of a fun fact. Because if you look at the steering wheel of Hyundais, they always have the H logo
Yes.
on the steering wheel. The Hyundai Ioniq does not. It has 4 dots. Did you know, and maybe you knew this, in Morse code...
If I did, I forgot whatever this is.
Morse code, an H is 4 dots.
Wow.
And I love saying that because I just think that's so cool. It really does have an H on the steering wheel. It's just in Morse code.
If you mention this to me again in a month, I will have forgotten this.
Morse code H.
The only thing I
dots.
remember about Morse code is 3 dots is S and 3 dashes is O, I believe. Yeah.
Yeah, SOS.
Which is the only thing you need to know. If you're ever trapped in the snow.
Yeah.
Something like that.
I used to have walkie-talkies as a kid.
I did too.
And on top of the walkie-talkie, there was Morse code, like a Morse code, like decoder. And so like you could send your buddy who had the other, walkie-talkie messages in Morse code.
Yeah, because you couldn't just tell them what you wanted.
No,
in
it
case
was
your
all
parents
secret.
were listening on a third walkie-talkie.
Totally secret.
All right. And then they somehow found out you bought cigarettes at 7-Eleven.
Well, I never smoked, but you bought cigarettes at 7-Eleven.
I never smoked.
I just subversively went to Dairy Queen on the highway on my bike, but other
That's
than
the thing I would do.
Yeah.
Yeah, food I would do.
Yeah.
All right, we have to take a break. When we come back, we talk to Jonathan Shaw of Hemmings.
All right.
Stick around.
Questions or comments?
Drop us a line at carstuff@consumerguide.com.
That's carstuff@consumerguide.com. Welcome back to the Car Stuff Podcast.
All right, we're back. This is the Consumer Guide Car Stuff Podcast, and I am Tom Appel. She's Jill Simonillo, and we're doing a podcast.
We're doing something that sounds like a podcast.
I'm on Twitter, Jill. People should follow me.
Okay.
That's really all I have there right now. You know one of the things I do? Car to Contemplate. Hashtag Car to Contemplate.
Okay.
This week's Car to Contemplate, and every week I pick a weird car for people to think about and comment on. And a popular one this week, do you remember the Cadillac 16?
I do.
I don't want to swear, what a great looking car.
I feel like that was one of the very first concept cars I saw when I first started covering cars.
That could be.
And it was one of those vehicles that you literally just stood in front of for like a half an hour, just like with your jaw dropping.
One of the things about it were the super interesting proportions. Very long hood, short deck, and it was supposed to fit a V16 engine.
Yeah.
And they had a mock-up of a V16 there. Mm-hmm. And the V16 was interesting because I believe it was push rod. I don't think it was overhead cam, which gave it a kind of a tight, compact look, and these beautiful finned valve covers. Mm-hmm. The engine itself was a piece of art. You know, and you had 16 exhaust pipes coming off of it. I'm like, oh, that is such a cool car. But that's up there right now if people want to check that out, if they don't remember the 16 concept. It's one of the great concepts. And it's back before, the bankruptcy and when Cadillac was still doing kind of crazy stuff.
When Cadillac was still Cadillac?
I don't know that I want to say that.
Okay.
I don't know that. I mean, yeah, I guess. We'll see what electrification does for Cadillac.
Okay.
But I never got the sense entirely that Cadillac lost it. They lost it in the 80s.
Yeah.
There's some bad crap coming out of Detroit in those days, but whatever. Anyway, follow me on Twitter. That's all I'm asking.
That was the point of all that.
Yes, I'm Car Guy Tom on Twitter. I look for cars. I talk about cars. I usually share the new stuff I've written. Also, I share some of the photography if I think it's worth sharing.
Got it.
So.
Okay.
What did I just take pictures of? Oh, car that's going away.
Okay.
The Mini Cooper Clubman JCW, John Cooper Works.
Okay.
That is one caffeinated, high-strung car. That I don't fit in.
Okay.
So for me, a bit of a rough ride, and literally a rough ride.
More you drive that here today?
I did.
I was like, I think I saw that in the parking lot.
Yeah, and that is for a younger person with a more durable back. What a blast.
I've always found
what a blast.
Minis to be very rough. If that makes sense. Like they're very stiff. They have a very stiff chassis. They're very sporty.
Yes.
And they are not meant for somebody who's looking for a luxury smooth ride.
Yeah, the crossover, the Countryman, that's less so true about that vehicle.
Okay.
That's a little bit more, I think, accessible to mainstream buyers. But yes, the rides are very firm. And if you're not looking for a very sporty car, along the lines of a Volkswagen GTI, definitely test drive the car.
Don't just buy it online.
So we just got word from producer Randy. Jonathan can't join us today.
Okay.
So some sort of mix-up in scheduling. He's got some personal stuff he has to take off. So we will talk Hemmings at a later date.
That works for me.
But I had a topic I was actually working on the way here.
Okay.
I was actually thinking about it, and I thought we'd call Damon to have this conversation with us.
Right.
But I think Damon's probably busy and probably won't pick up the phone right now to join us. So
that darn Damon.
But I wanted to talk about model names and the durability of model names. And one of the interesting things is that, like, American car makers, been around forever.
Okay.
Right, Ford, General Motors, Chrysler. These brands are 100 years old now. And for whatever reason, they don't usually stick with model names for very long. Like a lot of, like, if you take Corvette and Suburban out of the mix.
Right.
Suburban, by the way, which Plymouth used to use. If you take those, there aren't that many long-lived American car model names.
No, because, I mean, you have Mustang from the 60s.
Yes. Corvette from the 50s.
I mean, F-Series trucks.
I guess F-Series. We didn't call them F-Series all that time. But sure.
You're like, sure, I'll give you that one.
Like Silverado's relatively new. Mm-hmm. When I was working at Fleet Leasing, they weren't Silverados yet in the 90s.
No.
It was just the Chevy pickup available in Cheyenne or Silverado trim levels.
Okay.
You remember the Cheyenne?
No,
It was just a very, very basic vehicle. But it was just a Chevy pickup. The pickup was actually called Chevy pickup.
Okay.
But I want to talk about some favorite model names. So I'm throwing this at you late.
You are.
But I got one for you that you're not going to remember probably, but you're going to like.
Okay.
When I worked at a gas station as a kid, as a younger man, the owner's brother had a Jeep pickup, a full-size Jeep pickup. And I don't know how many people remember those.
You know what? So I remember it, but don't remember it. I saw it. I saw one. There was a guy who used to live across from me who had a full-size Jeep pickup truck.
Cool.
And would park it on the street.
Excellent.
Yeah, in the city.
Did it have? Now a lot of them had the extension off the top of the cab, the sunshade.
I don't think it did.
Terrible for highway mileage, but it's a great look. But anyway, my boss's brother had a Jeep J20. There was J10 and J20. The J20 was a 3/4 ton truck.
Okay.
And it was the coolest looking truck. But there was a version of that truck that had great 70s, 80s like graphics called the Honcho.
Oh, yeah. I remember.
You remember the Honcho?
I remember hearing about it. But I don't know that I've ever seen the Honcho.
So that was a great looking truck. And then if we're sticking with Jeep trucks with great names, you remember the Comanche?
I've heard it. I don't know that I've ever seen one.
The Comanche, which was a Jeep's first compact pickup truck, and it was about the size of an S10 pickup from Chevrolet, or Ranger was already called Ranger at the time, I think. Before that, it was the Courier, if you remember that.
No, I do not
Courier,
remember
by the
that.
way, not a great name.
No, that's a font.
That reminds me. I'm writing this down because I don't want to forget it. A pickup name.
Okay.
I'm going to ask you to tell me what it means.
Okay.
But the Comanche was available as the sport truck.
Okay.
Which brought you all sorts of crazy gold and yellow and orange graphics down the side of the truck, but it was spelled with one T. So I used to hang out with this guy named Josh who insisted on calling them sport rucks or sport trucks, but he wouldn't give them the propers.
Sport truck.
Yeah.
Got it.
Yeah. So the sport ruck. Do you remember the Isuzu Pup?
No. I think the last Isuzu I remember was it the Ascender?
Yeah, that was the GM-based truck.
Yeah, that's the only Isuzu I remember. So
yeah, that is a dark hole we don't want to descend into right now. But I believe the Ascender was entirely a GMC Envoy with like a different grill and like stickers for their names because they couldn't afford badges.
Okay. Yeah.
The end of Isuzu's passenger vehicles in the U.S. was a sad, sad thing. But the Pup goes back to when there was a Chevrolet Love.
I don't even remember that.
Oh, see, we're about to have a lot of fun.
Okay.
Yeah, the Love and the Pup, which I believe were the same vehicles at the same time. And if I'm wrong, Sam Fiorani, text me.
The Love Pup?
I need you to tell me what Pup and Love stood for.
No.
Just your best guesses. They were acronyms.
I have no idea.
Right,
I can't even try. Because I'm assuming Love was LUV.
Yes, LUV.
So maybe you would be utility.
You were. Keep going. Keep going, Jill. You can do this.
No, I really can't.
Yeah.
So UV, utility vehicle.
You were so close. You've done nothing wrong yet. You just need the L.
I have points.
I will reward you with a donut when you get the L. Compact pickup.
I'm like low.
Keep going. Work it out.
Work it out. Work it. No, I have no idea.
Light
Light
utility vehicle.
Okay.
That was it. Chevy Love.
Chevy light utility vehicle.
You want to try Pup?
I can't. The P's are throwing me.
It was P. Exclamation or no? What's the little thing? The possessive.
Apostrophe S.
Thank you. Yes.
P apostrophe?
Yes. Apparently, aging involves forgetting the word apostrophe. Yes. So it's P apostrophe up.
Upper Peninsula?
Pickup.
Oh, God. Seriously?
That was it. Chevy pick. Yep. That was it. Seriously.
Pickup.
Pickup.
You know what? I'm going to have to tell my boss that we now need to contract our name to Pup. We're Pup Talk.
Those trucks would actually make great stories. They were very popular in their day. Chevy sold a lot of them. And the interesting thing about the subcompact, or they weren't really called subcompacts, but the small pickup movement in those days, California, big time. And they sold a lot of these because in those days, the pickup trucks weren't required to have emissions controls or as stringent emission controls. They weren't required to have the same safety equipment. They were just regular cab, short bed, little pickups, rear-wheel drive, and they were unbelievably cheap. And a lot of them were sold in California without air conditioning, with stick, and they were just the people's cars. So they were incredibly cheap. And Chevy used to sell so many S10s.
Yeah.
300,000, 400,000 a year because they were just affordable at the time.
Yeah, and no trucks are affordable these days.
What is your favorite model name right now?
My favorite model name? It's not anything that begins with a K or ends with a number. Like, I'm so sick of automakers like putting an alphanumeric name for their models. I think that drives me nuts.
You know why people do it, though? Because it works for BMW and it works for Mercedes. And you get that instant credibility, I think, in luxury segments if you're doing the same thing.
But you know what? It used to make sense. Like Infiniti, once upon a time, like they had the G35, and it was because it had a 3.5-liter engine. That made sense.
Yeah, none of that makes sense anymore.
None of it makes sense anymore.
And the move to turbos screwed that up.
Yeah. But favorite model name right now? That's it's like I don't really think about model names. I mean, I guess I like it when they actually give you a name. So, again, no alphanumeric crap. But, we were talking about the Hyundai Ioniq. I like that. Think it's clever that they did it with a Q instead of a C.
But yes, I guess.
But yes, you guess.
The thing about it is that they don't make any sense. So there's the Ioniq 5 and the Ioniq 6, and there's nothing there that makes the 5 something that should be next to the 6.
Because I feel like the 6 is going to be maybe smaller, or the 7 is going to be a lot bigger, or there's like some weird things going on with the numeric. Like I said, it used to make sense.
So names I really like.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't like the name Escalade, but they're stuck with it. It's super popular.
Yeah, Escalade IQ.
It is etched into the culture, so that's going to be. And IQ is probably a good way to handle that, I guess.
Yeah.
But GMC, I love the name Yukon, and at Chevy, I love the name Tahoe.
Okay.
I think those are both great names.
Locations?
2-cylinder. They sound tough. They are tough. The locations, I think, are positive references. I don't know how I feel about Tacoma.
Okay.
Like it's a super rugged truck, and it's a city.
Yeah.
I don't really like. Are there a lot of Tacomas in Tacoma? I doubt it.
There's a lot of Tacomas in Hawaii, apparently.
I've heard that. Did I hear that from you? I heard that.
You probably did hear that from me because they did the Toyota Grand Highlander vehicle launch in Hawaii, and they revealed the Tacoma in Hawaii. And the reason why they did that is because I feel like per number of people who live on the island, there's an inordinate amount of Tacoma. And like literally every vehicle we passed on the highway was like a Tacoma.
So I have a question about that. Hawaii's not a big market.
No.
But it is a specific market. And it's interesting that it's specific enough that they would buy a lot of Tacomas. And it seems like buyers would benefit from like air conditioning delete in Hawaii. Because isn't the weather there just always kind of pleasant?
Or hot.
Does it get hot?
Oh my gosh. So the first time
I've never been to Hawaii.
The first time I was in Hawaii was in the middle of the summer. And I have to say it was... And this is my kind of weather, don't get me wrong. It was 100 degrees with 100% humidity. Like, I walked off the plane and my hair immediately curled. It was just so humid. And even inside with the air conditioning on, like you were breathing water. It was very, very humid there. So, no, an air conditioning delete would not work there.
All right. I've got a couple names to run past you, and then we got to take a break. Are you ready?
Okay.
Classic names. I want you to give me a thumbs up, thumbs down, and some brief explanation for why.
Okay.
Also, you have to like this first name no matter what, even though I just told you you have to be honest about it.
Okay.
Tornado.
Okay. I like how it sounds. Tornado. Like, it rolls off your tongue with
kind of one of my favorite General Motors products of all time. I really love the late 60s, very early 70s Tornadoes.
Okay.
I always thought that was a great name.
I don't even know what that was.
It was.
I'm like, sorry.
Tornado was part of a trio of cars. There was always an Eldorado, a Tornado, and a Riviera.
Okay.
And those three vehicles from Cadillac and Buick as well, by the 70s, had gone on to the same architecture. And they were very expensive personal luxury vehicles. So they're always two doors. They were always large, usually powered by a very large engine. And later on, they were all front-wheel drive, which was interesting.
Okay,
Way ahead of schedule.
From that name, I would have thought like muscle car.
No, personal luxury car, but there was muscle. Like the olds in the Buick were almost always powered by a 455 V8. Later in the thing, a huge V8.
Okay.
And the Cadillac by a 501 cubic inch V8. So crazy time. All right, Seville.
Or is that Sevilla?
No, it's definitely Seville.
I know. Yeah, that's a Cadillac. I am familiar with that name. I will say Sevilla is my favorite city in Spain, so I can like that name.
I have a confession to make.
Okay.
About Spanish cities.
Okay.
And that's that. The first time I heard that there was a car called the Toledo, I was like, what a dumb city to name a car for.
Ohio.
Not realizing at the time,
Toledo.
because I am geographically ignorant,
Right.
that there was a Toledo in Spain. A
Yeah.
Toledo.
Toledo.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
Well,
all right.
okay.
Finally, El Dorado.
Paved with gold, my friend.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, that's a good name.
Yeah,
I
that is
like
a good
it.
name.
You totally went classic in terms of your names that you liked.
All right, well, we have a minute left in this segment. What's a good new car name right now? K5, bad name.
Bad name. Very bad name. GX, 550, bad name.
Yes, Lexus gets away with that pretty well, I guess, because they don't have a huge model lineup.
Fair.
It's funny that I said that BMW, gets away with it and everyone wants to do this because BMW sells cars successfully doing that. But the BMW nomenclature is a nightmare.
It is, because they do stupid stuff like, X2, M35i, X-Drive D or something like that.
Also, everything that doesn't have a base engine is now an M model,
Yeah.
which is baffling.
Yeah.
But it's not a full M. So
No.
the M has to be worked into the name, and it doesn't begin with an M. You're like, stop it.
Just
stop it. And Mercedes got really
Yeah.
weird because they changed their naming again a couple years ago.
Yeah.
So every truck is now a GL.
Yeah.
GLA, GLB, GLC, GLE.
But then you
GLS.
have the A-Class, which is supposed to match up to the GLA, the
Supposed to.
C-Class, which is supposed to match up to the GLC.
And then you had the cars that never worked, like the CLS, which was
Right.
a mid-sized, rakish version of the E-Class. And that's finally gone.
Yeah.
And they only sold like 7 of those a month, so I
Yeah.
never knew why that stuck around as long as it did. Good-looking car.
Yeah.
Great car, but very weird.
Yeah, so I'm completely blanking on, because we've spent so much time talking about the bad names, I'm completely blanking on the names that are actually good. So I would open it up to people to comment, or to send you an email with some names.
Yeah, shoot us a line, carstuff@consumerguide.com, and we will read your suggestions next week. Blazer, I think, is a good name.
So, I mean, I think it could have been a good name, but what they came up with for the Blazer is just meh.
I like that car, and it's very much a personal luxury vehicle. It's
Yeah.
priced a little high for the segment. One last thought.
Oh, I know.
Yeah,
I have one. Supra.
it's a great name.
I really, from...
Historic. It's a great name.
It's a great name, and I just have a whole bunch of fun saying, have a super day.
Wow, that's weird. That started life as the Celica Supra. It was a high-performance version of the Celica, then eventually got its own 6-cylinder engine, and the history is what the history is, but it's always been a good car.
Yeah.
So I like that.
And it has a manual transmission.
I'm digging into quiz time now, which you probably
Okay.
don't mind, but I'm very interested to know what Volkswagen does with the Scout name,
Oh, yeah.
how they handle Scout.
Well, it's going to be its own brand.
Right.
So
It's the
what are
Scout brand, and it'll be interesting what they do with
What the
models
model names
underneath
will
it.
be.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's such a strong name, although it's probably not strong if you're not like 60 like me. But it internationally used to sell a vehicle called the Scout, very much like the Ford Bronco or the Jeep Wrangler. It was that kind of vehicle. Very popular vehicle, very rugged, very well respected. But the company went bankrupt and those cars went away, I think in 80 or 81, something like that. But the Scout name is now in the Volkswagen portfolio, and they can do a lot with that name.
Yeah, and they're going to be electric and rugged, off-roady kind of things. And I'm going to make a prediction.
Prediction.
I think they're going to do Scout 1, Scout 2, Scout 3. I think they're going to stick with a numeric nomenclature.
So they're totally going to cop out on this.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's my guess. I have no real knowledge whatsoever, but that would be my guess.
They don't have access to this name, but it should be the Scout Honcho. Let me just take this full circle.
Okay.
All right. We're going to take a break, and when we come back, it's quiz time. Stick around.
Questions or comments?
Drop us a line at carstuff@consumerguide.com.
That's carstuff@consumerguide.com. Welcome back to the Car Stuff Podcast.
All right, we're back. This is the Consumer Guide Car Stuff Podcast. I'm Tom Appel. She's Jill Simonillo. It's quiz time, but first, Jill, I never thought to ask you this before. Do you do any social media stuff?
I do some social media stuff.
You dabble?
I dabble. I dabble a little bit. No, I dabble a lot. Let's be honest. I have Instagram, Facebook, LinkedIn, Post, Threads, TikTok. I have all the things. You can find me at Jill Simonello, and I use the hashtag Car du Jour. And I have to tell you, I have a video that completely blew up.
I saw that.
Over the weekend. 2.5 million views on TikTok. And it was all about the passenger screen in the new 2025 Ram 1500.
It's always interesting when something like that happens.
I know. It was one of those very random things. But yeah, 2.5 million views. I also have a YouTube channel. And I should say that I am starting to upload our Car Stuff podcast to my YouTube channel. So you can get it in many places in addition to the Consumer Guide website.
You know, it would be a fun thing for you to do, to engage in what I would call real world social engagement, non-digital. Are you ready?
Okay.
Did you ever have a light bright?
I did have a light bright.
The Hasbro light bright?
Yeah.
Yeah, if you're a lot younger than us, you wouldn't remember the light bright, but you used to put little pegs in it.
Yep.
And the pegs would light up on a black screen.
Yep.
It was the coolest thing in the world. Or it was cool if there wasn't other cool things yet, and there weren't because the world was different when I was playing with light brights.
Yeah.
But you could, every night at midnight, put a message on a light bright and just hold it up in your window. And you could let people know that you're going to do that at midnight, and you could develop this real-world social following that isn't digital, right? It would just be you, like, I like the Range Rover. Like, that would be your message.
Just hold it up.
Yeah, and like for 3 minutes, and then people would leave.
Okay, so I mean, it's kind of like, modern-day smoke signals.
Yeah, yes, it is. Or semaphore.
Okay.
I need to work this out. There's a lot of problems with the thing.
Well, because you don't want people to come to your home, so where are you holding it up?
Right.
Yeah.
Well, like I said, it's not a perfect plan.
No, it's not a perfect plan.
But think about it.
I will
Think about it.
Totally think about it.
Get back to me next week.
Yeah.
All right. So Light Bright.
Light Bright.
That's a new social media network.
Yeah, I feel like my Light Bright was a hand-me-down from my sisters, and it didn't have all the pegs.
Probably, because you have to buy extra ones. In Chicago, when they advertised it, you had to buy a kit to do Bozo the Clown. It was an extra cost kit, and you had to buy like a piece of paper that you would put underneath the screen so you know what colors, and you would poke through them.
I remember the poking through of the, yeah.
In retrospect, that wasn't a very good thing.
No.
like once you use that, you couldn't use it again.
No, you could not.
All right, anyway, it's quiz time.
Okay.
So Light Bright, think about it.
Light Bright.
I have the simplest quiz for you ever.
I doubt that.
No. Super simple. You have to answer only 3 or 4. Today's quiz is called 3 or 4. Are you ready?
So simple, but not necessarily easy.
No, maybe not.
Yeah.
I'm going to give you a vehicle, and you simply have to tell me if the price of that vehicle begins with a 3
Okay.
or a 4.
Okay.
How hard can this be?
Super duper hard.
All right, are you ready?
Am I ever ready?
Oh, and you like me to explain the rules?
Yes, I do.
5 questions plus a bonus question. We call 3 of any correct answers a win.
Yes.
All right.
And I had quite a streak going until last week.
You were
where I bombed it.
You were something like 11 for 12 of regular questions.
Yeah, and I had one where I got like everything right.
Yep. You cleaned house.
And last week I only got the bonus question.
Yeah, bonus question is great today.
Okay.
All right, ready? 3 or 4. The 2024 Honda Accord Touring in Radiant Red Metallic. Does that price begin with a 3 or a 4?
That is just mean. That is really mean because you're throwing in a pricey color option.
I am.
You're mean.
I am.
Okay. You lost me at red metallic. What was it again?
2024 Honda Accord Touring in Radiant Red. This price is including destination charge. Radiant Red is an extra cost option, and this is the most expensive Accord. It's also a hell of a nice car. 3 or 4?
4.
Correct. You're on the board.
Okay.
All right.
Woohoo!
Yeah.
You don't get to use your favorite phrase.
I don't. $38,890, $455 for the Radiant Red, $1,095 destination. Price is $4,440. The color mattered.
The color matters.
All right, are you ready?
Yep.
Number 2, the 2024 Toyota RAV4 XLE Premium all-wheel drive.
Okay.
This is, just to refresh your memory, basically the mid-level non-hybrid RAV4. A very popular vehicle, I imagine.
And you said all-wheel drive?
All-wheel drive.
I'm going to say 3.
It is 3. Very good. $34,475 plus a package that I had to order. I couldn't get around it.
You had to?
Yeah, it's a mandatory package, the XLA Premium Grade Weather Package, which gets you heated seats and a heated steering wheel. So you had to
I'm
get
in
that.
favor of that.
Yeah. Plus $1,350 destination, $36,900. Popular vehicle, also good value.
Yeah.
You have 2 points, Joe.
Woohoo!
You're on your way to a streak.
Okay.
The 2024 Nissan Leaf SV Plus. Actually, that's the whole name. I have a lot of notes after it. I know you were waiting for more words, but the rest of the words... Yeah.
What else you got? Nothing.
Just to clarify, that is the big battery Leaf.
Okay.
There's a 40 and a 60. This is the 60 kilowatt hour battery.
Nissan Leaf used to be affordable.
Mm-hmm.
Is it still with the big battery? I don't think I've looked at pricing of this for a while.
Nor have I. Nor had I.
I'm gonna say 3.
Correct. $36,190 base price, $11,440 destination, $37,330.
Okay.
It seems like a pretty good deal.
Yeah. No, I've always really liked the Nissan Leaf. The biggest problem with the Nissan Leaf is the CHAdeMO charging.
That's weird, and I don't like the seat bottoms. They're short.
Oh, see, those are perfect for me.
If you're taller, I think you want for thigh support.
Yeah.
You were 3 for 3. You've already won.
Woo!
Congratulations. That banana donut.
So now I can just throw the rest of it.
You can. You can just throw it. Caution to the wind. The 2024 Jeep Wrangler Sport. No options whatsoever.
Okay.
So that means manual transmission.
This
by the way, that's 2-door soft top.
Right.
Base.
This is a tricky one. Because Wranglers are expensive.
They get very expensive very quickly.
But I feel like at a very base level, they are kind of affordable. I'm going to say 3.
3. Not by much. Mm-hmm. $36,495.
Okay.
$18,995 destination, which is crazy talk. Comes to $38,390 with no options whatsoever. Automatic. And I never understand the pricing of transmissions anymore. Automatic adds $4,500.
Good gosh.
That's what I thought.
So that must add, because
10% of the price of the car is the transmission.
No, it must add other things. So with the manual transmission, very often you cannot get things like adaptive cruise control or automatic emergency braking or things like that. So I imagine with the automatic transmission, there's probably adding some things like that.
I bet you are right. I bet that is part of it.
Yeah.
And you probably get some amount of trailer towing equipment too.
Yeah.
Because you have to get a trans-cooler anyway.
Yeah.
All right, you are 4 for 4, Jill, with one question to go plus a bonus question. This one you're going to like, right up your alley. The 2024 Ford F-150 XL
Okay.
regular cab short bed, which was not a vehicle I knew they actually built for consumer use. And maybe this isn't a consumer vehicle with automatic because that's the only way it comes, and with a V8 because there is no longer a V6.
Right. Ooh, regular cab, so that means 2 doors.
I didn't know you could buy this vehicle anymore.
I don't.
Steel wheels.
Yeah,
wheels.
I don't know that I knew you could either because of, like, we talk a lot about where you can get a regular cab. In Toyota, Tacoma launched the new Pre-Runner as like a regular cab, and that was like kind of a big deal.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, I missed that.
Yeah.
I'm glad you said that.
Regular cab. What did you say? What kind of bed?
Short bed.
Short bed.
Which is a great look. Regular cab short bed is a great look.
That might actually even fit in my garage.
I'm sure it would. Yeah.
Oh, I'm gonna.
We still have a bonus question.
Trucks are very expensive these days, but I'm gonna say 3.
Just barely.
Okay.
You went 5 for 5. Congratulations. So the breakdown here is $36,570, $19.95 destination.
Shoot.
They just need to build that in. It's a stupid number to have.
I hate it when people are quoting prices without that number.
Also, it always struck me that destination, it seems like it shouldn't be taxed. It's a service. But I don't understand.
Yeah, and it's a number that cannot be negotiated off.
Right, because the dealer's paying it. So, yeah, it's very strange. Yeah. And you can't get away from paying it. You can negotiate the total price.
Yeah, but you can't get rid of that.
Yeah. So, $38,565. Here's my question about this vehicle. It still stays under $40,000. No matter how I built this, they kept showing it with an acquisition fee.
Yeah.
And I couldn't get rid of it. And I wondered if these are lease only and if they are fleet only.
I don't know. I've been seeing acquisition fees a lot on Ford vehicles when I go into the build and price tool.
Yeah.
And I don't know why. It's like $625 or something like that.
Well, acquisition fee is always part of a lease.
Yeah.
And I don't know what the deal is and why it's showing up on retail.
Yeah.
All right. Are you ready for the bonus question? You are 5 for 5.
All right.
Do you like corn dogs?
No.
You don't?
No.
Okay, I was going to say with all that money you made on TikTok, you might want to take me to lunch next week.
Right.
There is a restaurant.
You don't eat corn dogs.
I do when they're veggie.
Okay.
And this place I'm about to talk about, Kong Dog Restaurant in Rolling Meadows. It is a Korean corn dog restaurant. It is one of the coolest, most entertaining places that I've been in a long, long time. My daughter discovered it, but they make Korean corn dogs on the spot. They're handmade. Fantastic. They also sell their own lemonade. Fantastic stuff. You need to tell me which of the following items is not on the Kong Dog menu. Are you ready?
Okay.
I keep pronouncing that wrong. Kong Dog.
It's 2 words, not Kong Dog.
Yeah.
Got it.
All right. Ready?
Yeah.
The sweet chili Doritos Kong Dog. The hot Cheeto Kong Dog. The potato Kong Dog. Or the Funyun Frito Kong Dog. One of those is fake.
I really want the Funyun Frito to be real, or the Funyun one to be real.
I do too.
Yeah, I love Funyuns.
Right? They are the nastiest, foulest, fakest things in the world.
But they are amazing.
And I would marry them.
Yeah.
Yeah. I wouldn't have had a child then.
Yeah.
But I would have been really happy.
Yeah. I don't know the last time I had a Funyun because I don't really eat processed food, but I loved them.
Funyuns are magic.
They are magic.
Trader Joe's, I think, sells their own house brand of Funyuns.
They're probably not as good.
They're pretty good.
Okay.
They're pretty good. Read the list again?
Yes, please.
The sweet chili Doritos Kong Dog, the hot Cheeto Kong Dog, the potato Kong Dog, or the Funyun Kong Dog. I'm sorry, Funyun Frito Kong Dog. By the way, you can get these dogs with a veggie dog inside, or you can just get them filled with cheese, which is holy crap good.
I'm going to go with the potato.
That one's real and my favorite.
Okay.
It's ridiculous looking.
Okay.
It looks like someone chopped hash browns, cubed hash browns. It looks like someone rolled a corn dog in that. Oh God, they're good.
Okay.
Yeah, no, that's real. You want to try again?
I'm going to be very sad if the Funyuns are not real.
They're not.
Ugh.
They're not.
Womp womp. That's it. I can never go to Kong Dog now until they make a Funyun Frito.
So you got 5 points, no bonus point. You win. I'm signing this for you right now. There you go.
All right.
There's the whole quiz. 5 points. Congratulations. You are back on track.
I'm back on track after last. You know what? I'm going to chalk last week's misery up to the fact that I was traveling and I was not in studio.
There you go. Do you happen to know who's on the show next week?
No.
I don't either. Okay. It's good.
You're asking me to look really far ahead in my life, and I just don't look that far ahead.
We are really booked up for a couple months here.
We are.
We're full up, so that's good. We got great guests coming. Sorry about today.
But I think we had a good conversation anyway.
I think we did. We have like 30 seconds left. Anything you need to share?
Just other than the fact that I'm putting the Car Stuff podcast on YouTube, so you can listen to, if you listen to podcasts via YouTube, you can listen to us there as well now.
I am super excited about that.
Yeah.
All right. Well, big thank you to Jill for joining us in studio today. Thanks to producer Randy and the good folks here at Talk Zone. Let's talk more about cars again
next week.
Remember to check us out at consumerguide.com.
The Car Stuff Podcast is produced by J-Turn Media.
To advertise on the show, please drop us a line at carstuff@consumerguide.com.